know. I must have been busy that day.
Really? It was last year. Somebody made a mistake and everybody in Hawaii got a text message.
Oh, I do remember.
Saying
I do
that
remember this.
There's a nuke on the way.
Yikes.
And the nuclear expert I interviewed was taking a social media detox that day.
Oh, no. Like her one job.
And her best friend was in Hawaii. So it's like the nightmare of taking a social media detox is
well, there was
that
a
your
movie at
best friends are gonna
Sundance
die.
called, I can't remember, but it's about two hipsters that are like, we're putting our phones away, we're going out to nature, we're going to detox, we're going to connect with Mother Earth, and they go, and it's the day the world ends that they do that.
Wow.
It's a whole ass movie.
Wow.
It's an indie. We haven't even started, and here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who listens to this podcast, I am so excited to bring you an episode with my very good friend, Chris REINACHER. He's Chris REINACHER with Wine and Weed. He's really fun, and he likes to be seen. He's got a thing about being on camera. He put on his jean jacket with Kelsey, darragh.
Hey, that was pretty good.
I'm tired.
You gotta freestyle with us more.
I used to do it. It's this deep
Really?
secret that I don't tell anyone that I used to do it all the time.
Why didn't you find me and Keith in the corner of parties?
Because
and freestyle with
I'm
us?
white and
So are we.
fucking nerdy. I don't know.
So are we.
Okay, I've gone way off topic. Chris, can I tell you about something real fast
Okay.
before we start?
Okay.
I am so excited to do this because I put out a call to my listeners that I don't make any money off this podcast. I self-produce it. We make no money. And guess what? People heard that and were like, you should be making money. And so they gave us an ad.
Congratulations.
And so I'm going to read this, but it's not just an ad because this is a service I've been using for at least a year now. And it's called BetterHelp. And BetterHelp is therapy anywhere you need it. Okay? So there's 4 ways to do it. Okay, you can talk, you can chat, you can phone, you can video, you can even text your therapist. I text my therapist all the time. I love my therapist. This is not part of the ad read. I love my therapist. I do therapy once a week on my FaceTime, and I lay in my bed and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that's the way I needed therapy to go. I didn't need to like drive halfway across LA and like sit in someone else's room and environment and like have that weird status level. I lay in bed in my pajamas and like eat my breakfast and therapize. And it's wonderful. So I want to tell you a little bit more about BetterHelp. Okay, if there's something interfering
I feel
with...
like I'm being used.
Yeah, you should feel like it because I'm shouting
But you get
in
your
your face.
money, girl.
No, but I'm telling you how much this service has helped me because if you have any happiness or issues preventing... Wait, what did I just say? If you have anything that's interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals, BetterHelp online counseling is there for you. Okay, you can connect with a professional counselor in a safe and private online environment, and they have licensed professionals who are specialized in, are you ready? Drum roll. Can you give me a drum roll? Depression, anxiety, stress, relationships, trauma, sleeping, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, and grief and self-esteem. Anything you share is confidential, okay? And if you're not happy with your counselor, you can literally like break up with them and get a new one without them noticing at any time you want. So if you're unhappy and you don't have to have that awkward like situation where you're like, "Ooh, this isn't working out," you just drop them and you get a new one. That's
that
like,
makes sense.
That's one of my favorite parts about it. There's over 3,000 U.S. licensed therapists across all 50 states available worldwide. And the best part is you can start doing it in under 24 hours. You can do it on desktop, web. You can do it on their app, phone sessions. They have broad expertise in the network, which may not locally be available in many areas for you. So if you have a specialized matter, like say you live in the Midwest and you need LGBT matters, you can use BetterHelp for that. And the best part is financial aid is available for those who qualify. It's secure, convenient, professional, affordable. So the best of all is it's truly affordable, which is why Confidently Insecure listeners get 10% off your first month with discount code CI. So why not get started today, girl? Go to betterhelp.com/CI. Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs and get matched with a counselor you won't love, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay? That's betterhelp.com/CI.
You're so good at ads.
You think?
I don't know if you've noticed from my content, but I'm rather cynical about ads. But I feel like you are really good at like.
Well, I really do use BetterHelp.
I know. But also, even on your Instagram, you're like, here's a company, here's blah, blah. And for some reason, there's something about me that I'm like, I don't want to be a cut.
You know what,
consumerism.
though? It's because I say no to a lot of stuff. Because
Really?
I'm like, I'm not going to be that person that does. Like, if you see me
You do seem like you genuinely
it's because I
believe
do.
in the things
It's
that you
like all
post.
those. I'm not going to name the brand because it's not a brand deal, but all those pictures I have, those picture frames on my wall,
Yeah.
that's for a company. I actually
know.
love them and use them. And someone in my apartment building bought them the other day. I saw the box on their step. Anyway, Chris, we haven't even introduced
Wow,
you.
look at this. It comes
Chris
up all the time on
REINACHER.
mine.
Wow, look at Chris REINACHER. Let me do an ad read for Chris REINACHER.
Yeah, do it.
Confidently Insecure, the podcast where we're absolutely sure we don't know everything. And today's subject, you might think is a little taboo, a little weird. You might be a little uncomfortable with it. But you know who's going to be uncomfortable with us? That is Chris REINACHER. Chris REINACHER is not only a podcast host for Wine and Weed, who you guys know with Stilo and his little dogs, but he's also my friend, a very good writer, an incredible actor. I mean, gosh, how many videos did we make at BuzzFeed where people just ejaculated when they saw our acting skills?
Orgasmed everywhere.
Yeah, and you were a producer at BuzzFeed for a very long time, and now you're doing a million other things. But most importantly, you're here because you are not an expert on something that I think is such an interesting topic, which is, drumroll, the end of the world.
Yeah. I'm here in February to talk about the end of the world.
What?
It's my mission.
Is something happening in February?
Well, all February long, I'm dropping this series called Getting Bombed, where I sit down in a bunker and I talk to nuclear experts about the end of the world.
Wait.
And we drink while we do it.
I was going to say, if it's called Getting Bombed.
We take sake bombs. We took Irish car bombs, which I know are offensive. I'm sorry.
Oh. Wait, Irish car?
Yeah, because it's a drink
you
named
literally-
after a terrorist attack. But I also
Yeah.
thought that was kind of like on brand with the show, is we're taking something very
Yeah,
serious
yeah.
and we're trying to make it approachable, fun, silly. There's this amazing animator who animated all the episodes.
And when can you watch it?
It's coming out on the first episode airs February 8th on my channel,
Oh my God, that's soon.
youtube.com/Chris REINACHER. Yeah.
By the way, I have to tell you, there is dog hair everywhere because Barry is allergic to chicken, and part of his allergy is that he lost all of his hair. So not only will it be on the microphone, but it's also in your mouth, in my mouth.
That's why.
Yeah. But, what's her name? Chris was like, just give him some chicken. And I said, no, he's allergic to chicky.
Yeah.
Now we found out. He's whatever. So that's why we might be coughing and pulling shit out of the in between our teeth. But that show sounds so cool, which we will talk about in a little bit. But I do just want to put out a little trigger warning, because talking about the end of the world used to give me panic attacks. And it wasn't until...
It's scary for sure.
It wasn't until I heard some podcast host once talk about life and death with... who's the star guy? Neil deGrasse Tyson said, I like to think of death the same way I like to think about my life before I was born, in which I don't think about it at all, which made me weirdly comforted in that, like...
Wow, Neil deGrasse Tyson coming for history.
Like...
Only science matters, history doesn't.
Like, no,
I get what you mean.
You don't remember shit about before you were born. And to me, I find comfort in knowing that, like, I think maybe everything just kind of like turns off when you die.
Oh, we're going to go here?
Okay.
I will. I've been thinking about it.
I mean, I grew up very religious, and I believed in a heaven and a hell for a very long time. And I do think something has to happen with your bits and pieces and soul, right?
I'm so used to doing a podcast format that I don't know if it's okay to just fucking talk. About it. Because one of my close friends just passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it's got me thinking a lot about death, and it's interesting because one of my friends who passed away was kind of a staunch atheist, and he was a big, he was a debater, and he was a great writer, and a lot of the times his point would be a little bit nihilistic. Like, he's really funny, a dark sense of humor, but it's interesting now dealing with the death of an atheist because there's a whole it's a different thing to process.
You believed in afterlife?
I believe in something.
You just don't know what.
I don't. I think that everybody's doing their best at digging.
Yeah.
Like Christianity digs a hole, and Islam digs a hole, and meditation digs a hole, and astrology digs a hole, and they're all trying to. It's all the same water they're trying to get to, and to think that one hole is the right way to get to the water is really stupid.
That's what I say every week.
If you only think about one hole. expand your possibilities. Like, it's about the water at the bottom. So
Whoa.
I also
but is
don't-
the water at the bottom like still consciousness?
I think that it's beyond our understanding, really. It's like Barry trying to speak English. He doesn't know. I think for us to think that we'll understand everything, it's like, it's beyond us. We're the smartest human being. We're the smartest creatures
that
on
we
Earth.
know of.
We're not the smartest creatures in the universe.
Do we know that? Like, wouldn't it be sad if we are?
We're not.
Wouldn't it be sad if we are?
It's very, very like narcissistic to think that we are the smartest beings.
I think it's narcissistic because it's all we've really known.
Yeah, it's very like, they thought the world was flat, and then it's to me it's like a very obvious, you have to admit you know nothing.
Yeah.
My point being,
that's about this
it
podcast.
was interesting. Like I in a way like prayed to him, and I went, if you can hear me, first of all, haha, I won. Got you. And I like to imagine that he can hear me.
Laughed. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot.
So that's interesting that you prayed to him. I like that. Because, like, if the idea is consciousness and that's it is nice to think that, I don't know, there's like an amorphous amoebus blob of his spirit floating around in some sort of like dewy cloud.
Yeah, it's like an energy, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much you want me to dive into.
No, there's no really like
death.
Well, it's weird. There's usually no format to this podcast, but now I'm starting to make a format.
What's interesting is as I was driving home, I was going up the coast, and I was traveling with somebody. I was going to show them my hometown, and I got off an exit early in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And I never do. I always get off in the village of Arroyo Grande.
I have been to your house.
Village. Oh, yeah.
I met your father.
Well, you've been to my dad's house, which wasn't in the village of Arroyo Grande.
Never mind.
But I got off an exit early where my friend had passed away, and I randomly was like, oh, yeah, one of my best friends lived there. And then I told stories about him. Never the way I've ever introduced my hometown, ever. Mm-hmm. And then I found out that he had passed away the night before, later that day. And then I walked into a little winery in my hometown after I heard the news, and Imagine was playing. Imagine There's No Heaven, which was very him. And it was a cover by Jack Johnson, which I had never heard. And he like knew Jack Johnson years before anybody else.
So this is like the universe.
It was just, to me, it was like there's a lot of something
synchronicities
going on. I called one of my other friends we grew up with. I told him, and he was like, that's so weird. He's like, I don't dream that much about people from our hometown. I had a dream about him on Friday. I was like, that's
See,
the
that
night.
To me is the universe.
And I just
energy
think like that, whatever that is, I think it's beyond our understanding. The same way I think dreams are beyond our understanding. But
dude, I could talk about dreams for a very long time.
You got
we gotta.
I like how this is a stonier podcast than the podcast I get stoned on.
Listen, speaking of the podcast you get stoned on, wine and weed, let's introduce our first segment. I wanted to do like a mini segment about us doing our own little wine and weed, minus the wine and minus the weed. A, because I'm sober, and B, because I'm sad that every podcast you ever go on, you have to be drunk or sober.
Look, it's not all my doing. This getting bombed, for example, the concept was pitched to me. It's not like I'm just like, what's an opportunity
for me to drink? It just
happens.
For me to
get drunk again.
Oh my God, I knocked this bowl.
Getting drunk and getting high is like a quick fix to make things fun.
Well, it's also a way for us comics to access a different part of our brain. It's not always the best or funniest, but sometimes it's just like, I wouldn't have thought of that sober.
Yeah, I mean, with both wine and weed and getting bombed, it is. What I love is a stupid way to approach a smart topic. It's like we're trick you into like wine and weed. You're like, oh, it's a party, and then you get there and we're talking about systematic racism.
Yeah,
and we're talking
and you
about.
And Stilo have such a good banter, and like I just know your personality so well, and to hear, I think like a straight white dude talk about a diversity of topics is so. You're not expecting you to be the way you are, I think. Because especially if people don't know you and they're just like, why am I going to care about this? Like,
Yeah,
guys'
and for those of you who don't
opinions.
know, Stilo is not a straight white
Yeah.
dude. I'm the straight white dude. Stilo is a straight black dude.
Yeah.
And we have an array of different guests. We've got
Yeah.
a bunch of guests from a lot of different backgrounds, which
Yeah.
I really appreciate. And we have an unaired episode.
Guys, one of the last days I ever drank was on Chris's podcast.
We have an unaired episode with Kelsey that we just talked about earlier. We plan to air on
One
the 1 year
day
anniversary
of my sobriety.
because it was like it was only our 7th or 8th episode, and it was like, this is too much. And to be honest, this isn't our format. Our format isn't get wasted. Our format is like get a little tipsy.
It was also Pride in Los Angeles, Gay Pride.
Which
so
is our fault in a way for scheduling it.
I had also just had knee surgery, so listen, I was
didn't
not
even know
sober to
that.
begin with. What do you mean you didn't know?
No, I
showed
didn't know
up with
that there
a
was
fucking
another mix in the cocktail. I had
and
no
Stilo
idea.
was pretty fucked up too.
Stilo was also coming from a party, but he had a yeah.
Yeah, I was
and
worse.
I showed up and I was like, oh wow.
It was like two toddlers screaming at each other. And Chris called me the next day and he's like, hey. And first of all, I was like, hey, what's up? And he's like, this episode. I'm like, I filmed an episode with you last time.
it was
so it will be released one day, and I think it will be very funny. But
I think you'll actually love it.
The
eventually.
podcast format is that you drink wine and you smoke weed and you talk about subjects. So I thought we would do a very tiny little mini wine and weed without the wine and weed. So I have 3 topics I would love to talk about. Trigger warning. The first one is about the death of Kobe and the conversation surrounding his complicated history. I want to give ourselves only like 2 minutes to talk about each thing because this is a mini version of your show. But I know on your show you guys dig a lot deeper. And again, you do cover an array of topics. So I tried to make these like as interesting as and different as possible.
Cool.
Okay, how do you start your show again?
We start with a banter. We start with just talking, and then we do AKAs.
Okay, we already did banter.
We do hey,
And
it's
it's Chris, AKA.
So you do have any AKAs?
You're the. I named you
I'm
an
AKA the
right?
connoisseur. I'm AKA your new baby daddy. AKA the mustache maven. AKA these are names I've been given. These aren't names. I've chosen.
Can I give you one?
Yeah.
The ADHD enigma.
Ooh, the ADHD enigma.
I said this to Chris yesterday, and he got insulted that I called him an ADHD enigma.
To be fair, you were having lunch with my manager and went, "Oh, you manage Chris? Wow, that's something because he's an ADHD enigma." And
No,
I was like,
said,
"Well, that
said,
sounds." Well, you
that's-
thought that was a compliment. It doesn't really sound like it in a professional context.
I said, like, wow, that speaks a lot about you as a manager because Chris is an
yeah.
I just laughed so hard something came
I
out of my
get what
pussy.
you meant. It's because I am like, oh, I want to do
You're
an
doing
unscripted
50
show and I
things.
want to
Yeah,
write
yeah.
this and I want to put on a music thing and I want to, I do want to do a lot of things at once.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I get
that's
what
my
you mean.
AKA
I get
for
what
you.
you mean. I am ADHD enigma. I'll use that this week.
Okay, I'm just Kelsey. Okay, so our first topic is
You don't have any AKAs?
Kelswa.
Okay.
Wazilla. That's what my nickname was in high school.
Okay.
I can't go into that further because there's a legal case out against. No, I'm kidding. Okay, listen. This podcast is called Confidently Insecure, the podcast where I'm absolutely sure I don't know everything, and I've been feeling a type of way about the death of Kobe, and I feel like you coming on this podcast, the way you guys talk about subjects is so interesting that I was like, maybe Chris can help me navigate through my feelings about the death of Kobe because I'm sure you've been thinking about it for your show too.
Yeah.
As we all know, him, his daughter, and 7 other people were tragically taken in a helicopter accident. If you don't know, where have you been? And
Terrible.
He has a very complicated past in that I believe it was 2003, he was tried and then the case was tossed for sexually assaulting a hotel worker, where in the case it didn't go to trial, but then she filed a civil lawsuit against him and they settled out of court for an undisclosed amount of money. And in his response to the end of that chapter of his life, he said, in hindsight, I realized what I thought consent was not consent to someone else. And so people took that as he's admitting he was wrong. He's admitting he, trigger warning, he raped her. And that he was labeled a rapist. And now people are totally diminishing his legacy as a father and as a as a person who did good for the community, not only for the Black community, but women's basketball community, for underprivileged children community. It's like erasing all
for
of
athletic community, for mental health community, for mindset, for a lot of things.
And I think people are I'm seeing one or the other. I mourn him as a icon and as a legend, or how dare you mourn a rapist?
I mean, I have a few different opinions on this. I think that people who are immediately saying "How dare you mourn a racist" are clout chasers.
Rapist.
Or for a rapist are clout chasers. I think they're chasing clout. I think they're going, everyone's talking about Kobe right now, and let me make it about me because I'm going to get retweets. I think it's a very Baked Alaska thing to do.
Ooh,
Baked Alaska is this alt-right personality that worked with us at BuzzFeed, and my observation of him rising in the alt-right was just that he would take shock statements and say them for clout. And
but
I think I don't respect that at all.
Which I feel like is different than a retweet. I've had people DM me saying, I can't support you, like I'm following on you because you posted that picture of like Kobe and his daughter walking into heaven together with their jerseys on.
I also think in people's lives they exist in a lot of different contexts.
Yeah, they're more than one thing. And I think what Kobe did in a time that we weren't getting from a lot of men was him sort of admitting that he was at fault,
that he can learn from this,
and that he can grow from it.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And maybe that was, PR cover up. Maybe like at the end of the day, he was a shitty person. But I think the way people are speaking about him with his family as a father and the relationship he had with, young women and as a coach, as a mentor, I don't know that I just don't believe that a person is the sum of one bad experience.
Yeah. And I also think that we need to give people the opportunity to learn and grow and talk about past mistakes like that, or else you're going to divide society into these two different aspects of people who, like, it's just going to polarize people. It's like going to be
people. So right and so left. Like there's no meeting in the middle.
I mean, I think that is a very extreme example of somebody doing something wrong. Like I can't say that many of us have a rape accusation under our belt, but at the same time, like, I don't know. There's so many positives that this person has done,
which is hard because you could say that about like. You could technically say that about Weinstein. You technically could. Well, you technically could say.
But Weinstein is over and over and over and over and over and over again. Kobe is once.
Fair. Well, that we know of.
Yeah, but it's once that we know of, and Weinstein is over. Weinstein is over and over and over and over and over again.
I guess too. I have to say that, like, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because we could keep going on and on. I just wanted to like get that feeling out of like I don't know, like listeners. I don't know if like I should feel sad or happy. Like I don't feel happy that he's gone. I don't feel happy about what happened to him.
Just think about how
I don't think he deserved it. Like I will say though that in a time like this, I think the best thing you can do is reach out to anyone that you know that is a survivor and just check in on them. I think that's the way at least I'm combating my feelings of insecurity about lack of opinion about his death.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's so much he meant to so many people, and I think
in a
that's
positive
hard,
way.
In a positive way,
yeah.
And I think that's hard to.
And I think people will chalk that up to be easily like, oh, because he was good at basketball. But like, no, I think if you dig in, you can see a lot more.
It's not because, I mean, this person had the God-given ability to be good at basketball, and then he became this mecca of what it is to work hard. And then he, he's done
became
so
a girl
many
dad.
things for so many communities and loved his kids so much. If
that's
nothing
so
else,
apparent.
this was somebody's father, and three people lost their father, and somebody lost their husband and their daughter. And for you to try to make that about you is kind of like fucked up.
Yeah, and like again, like I think I'm just coming at it from what I've seen in my DMs where it's coming from survivors.
It's triggering them?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Like
like a lot of bad things happen.
You're
And
not
I, and
wrong
I,
to feel
be honest,
triggered.
I get how that one individual may be triggered by that. To be like, it's a terrible thing happened to me one night, and now the world is
celebrating someone who
it,
did something like that.
You know,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna sound fucked up if I say that.
Well, you are speaking on a pretty feminist podcast.
Yeah, I don't. Is she triggered by every time she's reminded of Kobe? Is she triggered by looking around at her millions of dollars and being reminded of Kobe?
Oh, you're talking about the
she
survivor.
got a lot of money in the settlement. So I don't. That's the one person I would be concerned about. The other people need.
Look,
I don't think they're working through
think,
their issues well if Kobe is triggering them.
And, that's an interesting take.
I think that they can work through their issues.
And the money thing, like I have to say, I think people would say, like, do you think she would rather have $10 million and not have been raped? Or do you think, she's okay?
Oh, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
saying
no,
anything that reminds
Yeah.
you of this it's just such a it's a mental gymnastics that I wish you well on working through the trauma that you have, but like I don't that's not society's.
And I think I'm also speaking to
job.
women that didn't I'm worried
get
about the
canceled.
money thing. No, you won't. Because we don't do that to our guests, dear confidants. We know that
The people who are
people
not
can have
letting people be
opinions.
sad about Kobe's death are the same people who are canceling.
Fair. Okay.
Everyone.
But also, like, maybe that things that happen to women that didn't get money or justice or the ability to even sue or speak out. I hear you. I see you. My heart is with you.
Sure.
Okay, let's move on to our second wine and weed topic, which is the Super Bowl will have just happened last night when this podcast comes out.
I'm such a sports guy.
Sports. Passing the ball, making kicks, jerseys.
Catching the ball.
The 49ers, San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs will have played last night, and I would just like to get your predictions.
I want the 49ers to win.
'Cause
I'm a California boy.
did you know what did you know? Did you know my grandpa was like the travel agent for the 49ers when he was alive? He's dead. I never met him.
No, but
So
I like
that's
that.
why I'm supporting the 49ers.
Oh, I like San Francisco.
Oh, cute. I truly don't give a shit about this, but what I do give a shit about, like usual millennial women, is the halftime show. Do you know who's playing or who had played last night?
J-Lo is playing?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I have opinions on. It's J-Lo and Shakira are headlining
Shakira.
the halftime show, and it will be the first Super Bowl halftime show since the NFL and Jay-Z struck a deal that put Jay-Z's company Rock Nation in place to lead the league's endeavors in music and entertainment. So this was the first choice. I have so many opinions on this. First of all, I have nothing against J-Lo. Let me say that. I have nothing against J-Lo. But why is she putting out music right now? Like, what is she doing? Why do we care so much?
I think the Super Bowl loves legends.
Ooh,
So
a hot take.
I would even go far.
Shakira?
I would go further. I would say the Super Bowl loves icons.
Okay.
Because another thing we do on Wine and Weed is every once in a while we'll rank icons, legends, and stars.
Oh, wow. Big difference.
So, for example, Scooby-Doo, icon. Goofy, icon. Air Bud, legend. Maybe an icon.
No,
Lassie,
not an icon.
I'd say legend.
Who's a star dog?
Like fucking Droopy.
Who the fuck is Droopy?
Exactly.
Okay. I love that. Every time I think of Scooby-Doo, I think of you now.
But
what do you think about my hairy legs?
I'm trying to put aside my biases.
Oh, thank you for admitting that you have them.
Oh yeah,
Jared
I looked
will
down at your
lie-
legs and I was like, "Whoa!"
Jared will lie straight
It just looks
to my
like
face.
man legs. I
He
mean,
will
that's
say
just
he
what I'm
likes
used
them.
to.
Yeah, he'll be like, "Yeah, babe, I love them." And then in couples therapy, we found out that he doesn't. He's having trouble getting past his biases.
Okay, it's one thing that I don't really mind that girls are always like, it's like when you have
armpit
spiky
hair.
legs. Armpit hair, I'm sorry, it's the same
I
thing.
love hair.
But when girls have spiky legs, they're
suck.
like, I need
This
to
is soft.
shave. I kind of like spiky little legs.
Oh, ew.
Like when they like, I need to shave, don't touch my legs. I'm like, oh no, I kind of like the little spike.
That you are the minority, sir.
But that's too far.
So speaking of Shakira,
IMO for me, for my personal preference. Which
why
you don't
is
give a shit about.
Shakira?
Shakira is an international icon.
Why is Shakira? What has? Am I just out of the
I'm not
loop?
aware that a lot of the world speaks Spanish.
Whoa! First of all, how fucking dare you?
She's huge.
What is Shakira done recently?
She's an icon living.
I only know her as wherever.
No, there's so many more probably that
we don't know about.
I bet they're new fucking ones. Let's look it up, can we?
Okay, yeah,
Do
go
you
for
have
it.
the time?
I mean, what do you mean, do I have the time? It's my podcast. And we're recording in my living room. And that's not to say I don't think both of them don't deserve it. I'm so thrilled. Two women of color are doing this. And I'm confused because wouldn't you like try and get Billie Eilish or like fucking who else just won shit? Lizzo. I just feel like they're outdated.
Lizzo's too new. Billie Eilish is too new. You need icons. Like you need Red Hot Chili Peppers playing the Super Bowl.
I could not tell you one song though.
So I can tell you
played.
Red Hot Chili Peppers? Yeah, you can.
Right.
I will tell you. Here. You want to know why? Because
Why?
here's when Super Bowl made the mistake.
Oh.
In 2013, I believe, LMFAO played the fucking halftime show.
What is
how
that?
embarrassed are you that we let that happen?
Are they the ones that did the hamster commercial with the green tissue box cars?
They're party rappers in the afternight.
I think that's the same band.
I think so. Yeah.
Wait, why was that bad?
Because they are not icons. They are not at the level to play a Super Bowl show. You had Prince plays the Super Bowl. Michael
Lady
Jackson
Gaga.
plays the Super Bowl. Lady Gaga plays the Super Bowl. Madonna plays the
and
Super
now
Bowl.
it's like
LMFAO does not get to play the Super Bowl.
Do you know how out of touch I am with music? Is that when you said LMFAO, I thought that was LFO, which did I like girls that wear Abercrombie and Fitch,
yeah.
and I was like, we let them do this.
No, actually, in 2001, which I think is one of the greatest Super Bowl
Wow, a
performances of all
historian.
time. Oh, I love Super
You're
Bowl.
old.
You want to talk Super Bowl performances?
No, I
'Cause
don't
I'm
know
super down.
anything.
Maybe this is 99. Actually, it was Aerosmith, NSYNC, Run DMC, Britney Spears,
Whoa!
Christina Aguilera,
What?
Nelly,
What?
all in the same freaking halftime show.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's an awesome performance.
Wait, that's so many.
That's actually
a concert with a football show.
It's also really impressive because that's the peak because
Chef's
they were
kiss.
super popular at the moment. They wound up being icons, but at the moment you never really knew. That's why they
were
had to put like 5
climaxing.
of them
Yeah.
together.
Wow.
And then they had Aerosmith, who are icons, who are
To wrap it up.
well, they did Walk This Way. They all did Walk This Way together with Run DMC and Aerosmith.
Damn.
That's
hot.
the halftime show that you need to try.
Okay,
to
so
live
let
up
me ask
to.
you this: who do you think will be a surprise cameo? Remember, this happened last night, so I need a guess.
I think Outkast deserves to. Outkast is our icons.
Okay.
That should be playing a Super Bowl halftime show.
With
It's in Miami.
With Fergie.
What?
That's not Outkast, is it?
No, Outkast is Outkast is
Which
Andre
one was
3000 and Big Boy.
Fergie in?
Fergie's in Black Eyed Peas.
Oh shit! Did they play the Super Bowl?
Probably.
Okay.
I
So
feel like
you
they
think
have.
Outkast will pop up?
I don't
You
think they will, but I think they
Outkast
should.
popped up last
Or
night.
like Ludacris. Like we need like a.
Ooh.
We need someone from hip hop who is like a icon.
I'm gonna go bold here and say motherfucking Jay-Z's gonna pop in. Just pull a
maybe.
Selfish.
Maybe.
This is
Jay-Z
my
could
Super
do
Bowl
a
now.
halftime show.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't. Okay, let's go to the more. Let me go back to the more relevant question: is who do you think won last night? The 49ers or the Kansas City
I don't
Chiefs?
think that's more relevant. I
Good
don't think
point.
your listeners think that's
No, I
more
don't think so
relevant
either. I'm gonna go with 49ers.
I'm also going with 49ers by 3.
Let's move on to our last and final mini wine
it's
and weed
36
episode.
to 33.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna go 14 to 2.
Oh, okay, low scoring game.
Aren't
that
they
game's gonna
statistically
suck.
low scoring?
Not always.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of college football. Last episode topic of mini wine and weed without the wine or the weed is: have you watched Netflix's show The Circle? Oh my god. Okay, you don't need to have to talk about this,
Okay.
but I have. I'm obsessed. Everyone's watching about it. Everyone's talking about it on Twitter. It is like the hot toppy of all time recently, with it being a reality show that's really interesting because it's about a group of people that live in a house that never see or speak to each other, and the only way they can talk to each other is through like the thing called the circle, which is basically like how do I say this word without her lighting up? Alexa. Through an Alexa. That's how they talk to each other, is through an app that like texts and messages, and they play games.
So they basically have like a little smarter child?
Yes, and then the one at the end who's most popular wins the circle.
And it's interesting?
It's like
Sounds boring.
I thought so too, because when I watched the log line, I was like, why am I going to watch this? But it's
What? 8 people in a house not speaking to
It's
each other.
a little bit Black Mirror meets a psychological experiment where you're watching the way people think about social media, about the way they present themselves to other people, the thought process behind texting. Like, it really is the most interesting look. And they're all young, like millennial-ish people.
How would you win? if
You
were
get
on
voted the
show?
most
No,
popular. How would
you
I win? I'd be myself.
You wouldn't use any of your social media strategies that you know?
I'd probably use pictures of myself that are way prettier than me.
But they see you. They live in the house with you.
No, but you never see each other. You only use photos. It's only like a social media profile that they see.
Right? Oh.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
It's interesting, but I do have to watch this show.
How would you present yourself?
I feel like I would do. I need to know more about the show because it's like working at BuzzFeed. Really, you have a version of yourself that you like, but then you also have to learn how to employ strategies.
Yeah.
To blow your vids up.
Well, so here's the caveat to it is that you can come into the circle as a catfish, playing someone totally different.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
So you're like trying to weed out who the catfishes are in the show.
Yeah,
the whole time.
that was actually one of my ideas. But
so do you think you would come in as like a hot girl with big tits, or would you come in as like an older woman?
Who do you think
like
is the most
feminist
blanket likable?
writer? Well, I feel like people are also afraid of hurting other people's feelings. So I feel like I would come in as like a sob story. Like, I need this money because my orphanage fell apart. We have termites.
Yeah, it's very interesting to find out who's going to be the most likable.
But then America hates you because they know you trickstered your way.
I don't care about America. I want to win the goddamn game.
We only care about our confidants.
I'm here to win the game.
And Barry.
Hey, Barry.
He's being such a good boy. He likes you.
I know, he does.
And on that note of us loving Barry, I would like to take a quick break, Christopher, to not only talk about how much I love my listeners for setting me up with ad reads.
All right.
But I would like to give a shout out. So last week when I talked about how we don't make any money on this podcast, Jared did something that I thought was so fucking embarrassing where he said, "Hey, why don't you do that? Why don't you just give people your Venmo and they could like Venmo you what they think the podcast is worth?" And I was like, "No, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Like, I don't like asking people for money. I don't want to like set up a fucking Kickstarter or like a fucking thing." We raised over $370.
That's cool.
People Venmoed me,
That's
just
cool.
thanking me and writing a nice sweet note. So I just want to shout them out really fast. Will you help me read some of their names?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll take turns going back and forth. Ready? Vanessa R. Oh, wow. You messed up on the first one.
Alia R.
Sarah H.
Amy D.
Taryn E.
Alice G.
Jaharis M.
Tanya T.
Alexa G.
Bridget P.
Becca S.
Caitlin R.
Melissa C. donated $50.
So did Lindsay M.
Oh my God, Heather R.
These are all like literally names of like people I went to elementary school with. Like there's a Caitlin R, a Heather R, and an Alexa G in my like 3rd grade class.
Wow, how the fuck did you remember that?
Because I could say their full names. Jenna S.
Dana R.
Shannon M.
Katie M.
Katie. Oh, Alexandria C.
Mariana G.
Lindsay G.
Stop reading that that much. Alexa P.
Kylie K.
My Alexa keeps going off. Deb W.
Bryn M.
Adrian W.
Lauren G.
Taylor H.
Emily W.
Sarah B.
Grace R.
Zoe H.
Emma M.
Virginia M.
Delia D. Delia D.
Laura M.
Allison H.
Stephanie G.
Gabriella S.
It was Gabrielle S. But you guys, that was so incredibly sweet. Every time my phone would light up, I would feel this mixture of like shame and like unbelievable gratefulness.
You guys can Venmo me at Chris REINACHER, or you can Cash App me. My Cash App name is $scent of a woman, CENT of a woman, but with the $sign.
Did you seriously?
It looks like scent of a woman.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
It's a pretty great. I think just if you appreciate my Cash App name, throw me some money.
Wait, what? Can you believe Cash App is different from PayPal, which is different from Venmo?
Can we talk about this?
Can you
There are
fucking
different
believe?
companies doing almost the same thing.
Okay, listen. Last thing before we go into an ad read. Okay, because people did that and they Venmo'd me, I got another ad read. Like my confidants, you're the reason why I get to keep doing this and I get to pay Brooke and I get to like not stress out over this. It's them.
And I get paid
Nothing.
Scent of a woman.
Cash. I wanted to just quickly, because of our last episode was about IVF, fertility, egg freezing, and pregnancy. I wanted to quickly give a read about a woman named Sassy Cassie who sent us a DM saying that they are designing super cute shirts to help raise money for their IVF treatments. So I'm going to put their link in their bio. That is about Cassie and Eric's IVF journey, and they make these like very comfy looking I can and I will shirts. They're cute to check out, so I would just check out their thing so that they can get IVF. Come on, confidants, let's rally together. If we can raise $300 from my dumbass who's doing nothing but sitting on my couch and talking every week, let's try and have someone have a baby. And then all of that to say, here comes our ad read. And you won't believe who this company is. When they said that they were going to give me an ad read, I about shited my pants. Okay. Will you be my product holder?
I'm not getting paid
No.
to do ads.
Just
you
hold-
know how I feel about ads.
Hold this.
I made a whole
box.
series about how I feel about ads.
Oh, well, sorry you're partaking in this, but not sorry. Guys, this is for Glossier. Can you believe that is like the most gorge, very popular, very hot. Like I did not know I was cool enough to be sponsored by Glossier. And I am here to talk about, are you ready for this? Their Milky Jelly Cleanser, which is a conditioning face wash. And I don't know if you can see, Chris, but look how beautiful my skin is.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you. And that's because I have been using Glossier's Milky Jelly Wash. I mean, when I think about skincare, I am constantly thinking about the quality of ingredients, its effectiveness, and a lot of brands make my skin kind of dry. I have very mixed combination skin. It's dry in some places, it's oily in others. I sweat very easily. So my skincare routine is incredibly important, which is why I love Glossier, because they believe that beauty starts with skin first, Chris. Makeup second. Okay, because if you got a nasty tree trunk, you ain't gonna have a beautiful tree. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take care of the trunk and the roots and the ground and the soil below, which is why I love the Milky Jelly Cleanser. It is a luxurious, creamy gel formula that makes washing your face an elevated experience. Just feel fancy. The packaging is gorgeous. I feel like I'm in like a beautiful cloud every time I am using it. It washes away excess oil, dirt, and makeup. It's gentle on your eyes and great for all skin types. It's got really beautiful packaging. I cannot stress that enough. I kind of just want to keep the packaging on my makeup counter because it makes me feel like I'm in a beautiful, fancy store. The Milky Jelly Cleanser is one of Glossier's top-selling products. People are obsessed because in 2015, Glossier asked the community, like, y'all, what's your dream face wash like? And they took all the responses and went to work. And a year later, the Milky Jelly Cleanser was released. So I want you to get that glowy, dewy skin for yourself, my confidants, by visiting glossier.com/podcast/Kelsey. And you can learn more and take a quiz to find out about your ultimate Glossier skin routine. Plus, all new customers will get 10% off your first order on glossier.com/podcast/Kelsey. A girl got her name in there. Again, that's Glossier, spelled GLOSSIER.
There's an R.
.com/podcast/Kelsey Darragh. Certain exclusions applies. Thank you, Glossier. Dead ass, y'all. They sent me this other product, which is called, wait, I think you're holding it. The Super Bounce, which is the hyaluronic acid, and Future Dew. This isn't part of the ad anymore, but look.
I need face lotion. I need face lotion right now.
This will make your skin look so dewy. I'm putting it on Chris. First of all, it smells really good. Look, you're effing glowing without looking sweaty. You look like pregnant. You're just dewy.
It's a really nice compliment. I look pregnant.
And it smells so fresh. It smells like I'm at a spa. Okay, the ad reads over. I'm sorry. Confidants, that's because of you that was possible. So I just wanted to shout you out. Shout out everyone that sent me Venmo. I can't believe we have sponsors. Let's get to the reason why you're here, Chris.
Woo!
We're here to talk about the end of the world.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And Bombs Away, which is a show that's coming out on your YouTube channel.
It's called Getting Bombed.
I'm calling it Bombs Away.
Well, that's not what it's called, but that's okay.
Thank you so much. Also, before we start talking about the end of the world, I want to talk about a song that's about the end of the world.
Can I talk about the song?
Fucking sure.
Because I have a good story that relates to the show.
Okay, go.
Because I believe I called you one day just to chat.
Because we do that because we're friends.
Because we do that. And you were saying that you had just heard a song, you were learning a song or something.
On the piano.
And I was like, what song? Just making conversation. She was like, a song called If the World Was Ending by J.P. Sachs and what's her name?
Julia Michaels.
Wait,
no, I don't know if that's right. It might be Julia.
I think you're right.
It's Julia Michaels? Really? J.P. what is it?
J.P. Sachs is his name.
But
she's an incredible songwriter, so it might have been
Julia
Michaels.
Julia Michaels. Oh, I thought she was like the fat phobic trainer. Not the same person.
No, different person.
Okay.
But
can I play it in the background while you talk about it?
If you're allowed to on your podcast.
Why wouldn't I? Do podcasts have any restrictions with music?
I don't know. We played Old Town Road when it first came out.
Oh, because it's on YouTube.
It definitely got flagged on YouTube.
We will try to sing it and harmonize after Chris tells his story. Go ahead.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I said, what song is it? And you said, If the World Was Ending. And I started listening to that song, and I thought it was really good, and I really liked it. It's like a piano ballad, and it was while I was recording this show. The first day you showed me it, I had a general meeting, or I had a meeting, kind of like a long production meeting about it.
Bombs Away.
About getting bombed. So I listened to this song, and it was one of those songs for me that you listen to over and over and over again. So I listened like 6 times on the way there.
Oh my God.
And 6 times on the way back, and then every time I was driving to set and back from set, in the bunker, I was listening to this song. So in a way, this song
very much inspired your mood.
So yesterday,
it's so
when
beautiful.
We were talking about
it's about 2 people. It's a girl and a guy singing, and it's about the world is ending, and the thing that they're thinking about is each other.
Yeah, well, it feels like they're like exes or something.
Yeah, like and the lyrics are so fucking beautiful. It's like, if the world was ending, you'd come over, right? And then he does this dramatic pause and goes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it kills me every time. So now Chris and I are going to sing it. Ready? Go.
We are? I was distracted and in traffic. I couldn't feel it when the earthquake happened.
But
I'm trying to remember.
Got me thinking the night we went out drinking.
Were you out drinking? Were you at the house living room chilling, watching television? It's been a year now, trying to figure out how to let it go and let a feeling die down.
I know, you know, we know we weren't meant for each other, and it's fine.
I know, you know, we know you weren't down for forever, and it's fine. He's got a very
pretty voice.
But if the world was ending, you'd come over, right?
I love the Earl.
You'd come over and you'd stay the night.
Woo! Would you love me for the hell of it? All our fears would be irrelevant.
If the world was ending, you'd come over, right?
Dramatic pause.
Right.
Ooh, and then the girl comes in like this.
If the world was ending,
you'd come
over, right? Right.
And then the girl comes in like this. It didn't hit me when the earthquake happened, but it really got me thinking. The night we went out drinking, stumbled in the door and didn't make it past the kitchen. It's just like, okay, so this got me thinking, not only because those are the lyrics, but it got me thinking about if the world was ending.
Okay.
I think about this all the time because it is my greatest fear. Who would you call? Who would be the first person you tried to reach out to?
Whoa.
And it can't be a bullshit answer where you group FaceTime everyone. It has to be one person and you're alone. Say you're at Ralph's buying your ramen noodles.
It's got to be your mom, right?
Oh, for everyone? That's a bold statey.
It's got to be your mom. It's got to be your mom.
But what if your mom's
Linda
choice isn't
Darragh.
you? My mom's name is not Linda Darragh.
I know. I'm just joking. Whatever your mom's name is.
I would think your mom's name is Kathy.
No, my aunt's name is Kathy. My mom's name is Nina.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed Nina.
Yeah, I know. It's curveball.
Curveball.
It's like one of those exotic names that's also not exotic.
Yeah, at all.
It's like it's not
especially
common.
on a white lady. You're like Nina.
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 Yeah. I feel like it would be my mom.
But what if your mom's like calling your dad?
And you also get to find out if you are going to be someone else's call too. It's like The Circle.
Oh, The Circle on Netflix.
Yeah, I wonder who would call me and who I would call.
Do you think any of your exes call you? None of mine would.
I mean, I would be flattered if any of my exes called me.
The idea of you being like, there's literally bombs dropping out of the sky, and you're like, hey, I'm flattered. You called me.
You up?
Like the fact that you're like, oh, one last little jerk off between.
No, I mean, a lot of people have bad relationships with their exes. I don't have bad relationships.
Only one,
with my
and they
exes.
know who they are.
I consider a lot of like exes to feel like family members in a way, like people that used to be part of my family.
Ew, that used to fuck?
Yeah. But like
hot.
Like, I mean, if I don't know, I'm allowed to be transparent. This is my story, right? Well, like, I'm thinking about my Jessica, who I dated for years.
Oh, I love Jessica.
I love Jessica too. And when I watch her Instagram stories. She's on the campaign trail right now with Andrew Yang. She was with Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I get so excited for her. I'm like so proud of her.
That's when you know you've been through an adult ass relationship, is when you can find happiness for the other person at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Unless they were like an abusive piece of shit. If it ended amicably, or like even if it didn't end amicably, I think like I went into rehab right after I went through one of the worst breakups I went through, and I like never hated the person, even though it was the worst heartbreak of my life. I still at the end of the day walked away being like, I hope that person finds happiness, even though I'm fucked up because of it. Where's BetterHelp.com? 10% off.
The podcast is getting really quiet for a while because I'm fucked up.
I was fucked up about it, but
who's yours? Who are you gonna call?
I mean, it's Jared, obviously.
Yeah, because he's listening to the podcast.
He doesn't listen to the podcast. It's Jared, but if I'm with Jared, like if we're together in the home with Barry and our cats, oh God.
Who is the other? I mean, my mind is just like it's got to be family, right?
Well, I also had a woman who raised me, but she has her own kids, so she'd be fine.
I got another end of the world question.
What?
Okay, so let's say a nuclear bomb is dropped.
Yeah.
Because nuclear bombs can.
Yes, drop some facts. Drop some heat that isn't a bomb. Did you feel me?
There's an amazing video. I mean, I'm happy to plug other nuclear education. There's an amazing video by that German YouTuber. I think his name was like Kirksog or something like that. He makes you've seen his videos, and he makes something about what would happen if a nuclear bomb was dropped in a city. And it's
what
terrifying.
Would happen?
It's terrifying because if it was dropped in the middle of the city, you'd turn to dust right away.
Like if it was dropped in like Santa Mons,
if it was just in Santa Mon, we would not be okay. We would slowly die. We would all have radiation poison.
Chernobyl.
Yeah, it would be like Chernobyl. I don't know if radiation poisoning is. So let me explain the background of the show before I drop facts on nuclear weapons. The background of the show is that, hey, I'm a regular guy. I don't know about nuclear.
Me neither.
So I talked to
the
head. I talked to an MIT professor. I talked to a guy who worked in the White House on nuclear policy. I talked to a person who studies, who has this website called Beyond the Bomb about how nuclear affects communities more than just the science of it, how it affects marginalized communities and women and how it links into intersectionalism and stuff like that.
I
talked to all these interesting people, but my take, because I really wanted it to be for the average person, I'm not an expert.
That's much like this podcast. I have a question. What is a nuclear bomb?
What is a nuclear bomb?
Because don't lots of places have it, or they have nuclear weapons? I am so confused about this topic.
Yeah. See, this is why I wanted to do a little studying, because I shot this a couple months ago. And well, that's why I wanted to bring my computer.
We prepare our guests.
Well, yeah. I mean, so we have over 1,500 nuclear bombs.
As America?
America.
1,500.
1,500.
And a nuclear bomb can wipe out a whole city?
Yes, definitely. It can wipe out a whole city. It would only take 311 nuclear bombs to blow up essentially the entire world and to nuke every single city in the world.
1,500?
Richard Dawson has this quote that is.
Who's he?
He's a scientist.
Okay.
He has a quote that says it's like we're in a garage that's full of gasoline and we're arguing over who has more matches.
Whoa. Why aren't we getting rid of the nuclear bombs?
Because that's kind of what we're doing. We're trying to say we're the biggest military in the world. We have 3 times the size of anyone else's. But if it only takes 311 to blow up the world and completely destroy society forever, why do we have 1,500? On top of that, it's costing billions and billions and billions of dollars to maintain the nuclear weapons every single year.
Because it's floating in gas or something?
Well, no. I mean, we got to make sure we're taking care of the nukes. So, like, it doesn't.
Where are they?
They're all over the country. There's one episode where this guy named Pete Carroll tells me about visiting a nuclear site.
That's the name of USC's football coach. Carry on.
Did I just say his name instead of
Pete Carroll?
I think his name is Pete Carroll.
Okay.
I hate that you don't edit on this because then I can, when I'm saying facts, I want to be able to edit.
When you self-produce a podcast, this is the amount of work I can give. Pete Carroll said, a quote.
Well, he was at a nuclear site, and there was a hole that he was at the edge of that they tested a nuclear bomb at. And he said that was the moment when it turned from kind of a scientific thing in his head to like a gut feeling of like, uh-oh, this is fucked up.
So you said they're all over the country. Do we know where they are?
They're nuclear test sites all around, and you can look them up, but there used to be a lot more.
I feel like have like people driven past them and you would never know?
Yes,
because they're underground.
Some of them there's a story about which is on, so I'm dropping this YouTube series, but I'm also dropping longer versions in a podcast called Getting Bombed. I'm doing a larger form in a podcast, and I believe this story makes it in one of the podcasts, is that there is a nuclear test site that was disguised as a dog food factory.
What? Don't bring Barry into this.
And it's slowly, the community started being affected by a lot of diseases and stuff, and then they realized that this dog food factory was actually a nuclear testing site.
Stop. And it was leaking out poison?
Yeah, and then there's a lot of examples of human error, like that example that we talked about at the beginning where that person sent out the text message to everybody on the island about how there was
the fact that that's like coming. One button that someone
There's
presses.
Another one where like there's 19-year-olds that are going down into, that are employed by the military who are going down to do maintenance on these nuclear weapons, and one of those 19-year-olds could make a mistake and we could all be gone.
Oh, what do you mean they could make a mistake? Are they not protected enough that a 19-year-old can go down there and go boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 and it shoots off?
There's a story that we go over, not that it shoots off, but that it explodes or that it starts leaking.
Oh, like
or
if
that
they
it leaks
trip,
into the groundwater.
Or if they're smoking a cigarette and they flick it the wrong way and it blows up the entire...
I don't know exactly, but
That's
I like that.
a movie scene.
Yeah, I like that one.
Whoa, so we're trusting kids,
we're
teenagers to clean up and maintain our nuclear weapons.
And on top of it, there's this
no offense, because when I was 19, I thought I knew everything.
Well, there's this other amazing story about how, just security is not what we think it is. We just put all this faith that there are security experts, and you have to realize that these are just regular people who join the military. So there's one guy who has a Fitbit on, and he's abroad in the Middle East, and he joins a social media site to like share his Fitbit knowledge, but they also share his location. So enemies of that pick up on that and try to find out where he is and where our nuclear weapons are based on that. There's just so many things that aren't secure. There's so much that you have to consider, from how it could affect you, how it is affecting communities, and how easy it might be for, if there is a person who is mentally unstable in power, can't think of an example of
me
that.
Neither, not one.
But about how easily it would be.
But here's my question:
really destroy humanity.
Don't you like? People joke that there's like a piece of paper folded up in the president's desk that has like the nuclear codes on it.
That's not a joke.
It's true.
It's called the nuclear football, and a secret service agent has a briefcase on him all times called the nuclear football, and at any time the president can open that up, put in the codes.
Fuck off.
And you could launch a
He's
weapon.
the only person that has that power. He doesn't have to check with other people.
No.
And the Secret Service agent just has to let him.
Yeah.
You're fucking kidding me.
Yeah. So the first episode, which is one of my favorite stories
Of bombs
of
away.
getting bombed, the expert tells a story about when Nixon was the president, when he was going through an impeachment trial. Again, I don't know a president like this.
Don't understand.
But he was getting drunk. He was kind of an alcoholic.
Oh,
He was getting drunk, and he was going, what if we bombed Cambodia right now? That would get people to start focusing on that.
On what about Cambodia?
Well, instead of the impeachment trial.
Oh,
it
my
would make
God.
so many waves.
A distraction?
It would be a good distraction. So there's these talks about how he's
Shut the
roaming the
fuck
halls, talking to the portraits, and Henry Kissinger, who's his Secretary of State, is like grabbing the nuclear football and being like, "Can we not give it to this guy?" So there were sane people around him going like, "Don't let him have this." But partially it was because he was drunk.
I just can't believe we would give one person that much power.
Yeah.
And like I thought there was a system where it's like everyone in the room has to go thumbs up, boss, before they hit the big red button.
It doesn't need to be like congressionally approved.
So then, do you guys in the series talk about the beef between North Korea and the U.S.?
North Korea definitely comes up, and it comes up more so in those longer podcast episodes. Those longer podcast episodes are great because they go a little more in depth, and some of my favorite stories, because we animate them in the YouTube series, which is awesome.
So it makes it so much more easy to understand.
Yeah,
when you see an
some of them
animation.
are really
Yeah.
cool stories that unfortunately, like animating the Nixon story was so fun
Yeah.
that there are some other stories that don't get animated, but
Mhm.
they're so good that I really want people to also listen to the podcast if they can. It's just something that we definitely should be talking about, and especially in this like presidential cycle, it's
Uh-huh.
not even something we bring up.
No.
But you also have to know that back in the 80s, we actually had about we had hundreds and hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 more nuclear weapons than we do now.
What happened to him?
We started standing up, and we started
What?
saying, the people gathered together.
I was like, what did that do?
Activists, people started letting their voice be heard, saying, we think this is unsafe. We think
Too
nuclear is
many.
bad. We think we need regulations and environmental regulations, and we need to curb this.
Holy
and
shit.
it worked.
And how do you get rid of a nuclear weapon?
Well, you slowly deactivate them and shut them down and stop maintaining them. But right now we have 1,600 active nuclear weapons.
So do we
ready
maybe
to
have
launch.
secret ones that are like still being built all the time? Probably.
Yeah, we have some that are being built, some that are being maintained.
Because the technology, I imagine, has to evolve, and the poisons and the chemicals and the weapons and shit gets upgraded, I'm sure, all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty destructive force as it is.
Here's
so
my
the safety measures might be moved up, but yeah, the maintenance is like you said, the maintenance is definitely costing us billions of dollars every year.
I always had a question, and maybe this is me being an idiot, but like in movies, they would be like, target that small town, and they'd put a red box over it, and then they'd hit a button, and somehow a fucking bomb would land exactly in that spot. How does that happen? How do we get a weapon? Do they put it up in a plane and they have to physically fly over it? So don't we have like 7 minutes to like brace ourselves and go into our bunkers? Or is it one of those things where you hear about like launch tests all the times where you can launch it from a boat or the ground and it just... How the fuck does a bomb get from North Korea to where would they go? Washington, LA, New York?
There's so many things. You should know that the show is kind of like this, where
I'm just
the way that you're talking is the way that I talk.
Okay.
And I just go kind of like, I don't know, this is what I've heard.
Yeah.
And they give me scientific answers. And so I'm going to tell you what I've learned, but I'm not
Right.
going to claim to be
An expert.
an expert.
Well, this is a
They-
podcast where we're
they
absolutely
have
sure we don't know anything, Chris.
land-based, and they have sea-based,
Uh-huh.
and they have air-based missiles.
What
so
about
some things
fire-based?
are dropped. Wind-based. Some things are dropped. Some things are underwater.
Whoa!
Some are shot underwater, and some are shot from the land.
So you could technically go underwater and hit like a coastal city?
Yes. And also, you're right in that we would have some time. We would know it's coming.
How would we know it's
But
coming?
Because we have a lot of radar in the air to go, oh, there's a missile coming. But also keep in mind that like how many times have we tested shooting a nuclear bomb out of the air?
I don't know how many.
I don't know either,
Is
because
it
there
like
might be some instances which are classified because they didn't want to scare everybody,
Oh,
but not that
shit.
many. We
But
don't know how well these
is
systems
it hard
work.
to do
The
it?
best way is to avoid this altogether. And then my other thing is, you said, will we have time to get in the shelters? You know, all those bomb shelters and everything? Those things don't mean shit. Those
Why?
things won't work at all.
What?
Think about when a bomb goes off in a city, it's gonna you're almost lucky if you're one of the people that it goes off right next to, because you're instantly killed.
Oh,
Because
damn.
then the people
Savage.
imagine if it did drop in Santa Monica and this wave of radiation came out, and all of a sudden we are getting like
Melted.
sick and melted, and then we go, well, let's go to the hospital, and then you realize everyone's going to the
Yeah,
hospital.
you
The
can't go to the
doctors are
hospital.
experiencing
Yeah.
this. It would be the most insane form of chaos that you
Oh
can
my
ever
God. I would
freaking
straight
imagine.
up pop open a bottle of wine. I would sit on Jared's dick
And-
and I would pet Barry.
And you'd loop JP Sachs.
Over
Well
and
presented.
over.
Yeah, because that's all you can do.
I would eat cake.
But like
Ooh,
I
I'm
said,
gonna go
the
get a
most,
cake after this.
That sounds good.
Let's go get cake.
Yeah, but not those cupcakes.
No,
Those
birthday. No,
cookies you
how
love.
dare you talk about my cookies on this podcast, you fucking asshole. But let's go get like birthday cake from
Okay.
Ralph's after this.
Interesting
Okay.
choice.
What were we talking about?
Well-
Oh, we had moments, but the bomb shelters don't mean anything?
The bomb shelters aren't going to work. Like, nothing is going to work.
Well, then why do
And
they
also,
claim to
as
have a
soon as you
secret?
get out, you're going to have
You'd
that
be
whole
underground
radiation
forever.
happening on you. I did a lot of scenarios. I like to, almost with every single person I interviewed, I think they all made it in. I went like, okay, so
Sam.
I'm underground in Brooklyn, and somebody I love is in Queens. And I need to tell them I love them before they die. But a bomb is dropped in Manhattan. What's going to happen?
What do they say?
They're like, you're all dead.
No.
Yeah. They're like, she's dead immediately.
No.
You're not dead immediately, but as soon as you try
can't
to get out of that
move.
subway, you're going to die.
But what if I never leave my apartment? Can
No.
radiation leak
Yep.
through the vents? What if I
Absolutely.
tape up the vents?
No.
Can radiation leak through the
Yes.
walls?
No, it would penetrate all this.
Ooh, say that again.
It would penetrate all of this.
So what would be what
it's like
what
it's like Trump saying that he puts aerosol in his hair, but it's inside, so it's not hurting the environment.
shit,
It's
he is
like
fucking dumb.
it is hurting the environment,
But
bro.
okay, so then my question is, I have a few.
Yeah.
What do we do as listeners of this podcast to inform ourselves besides listening to Bombs Away?
So that was one of my big questions. There's a site called Beyond the Bomb that is really educational, and then that's kind of what my question has been right now. Is like, I want to start this conversation,
But is it
and
too
I want more
big?
people talking about it, because we have reduced our nuclear weapons by half because of activism.
And why haven't
because
we
of people
since
talking up.
then?
We haven't. In the age of the internet, there hasn't been a movement to stop it, because we're too worried about, well, what if I want to be called Zay?
Whoa,
In my opinion, there's
drag her.
sometimes bigger issues.
So it's like
that
climate
we should
change.
all be
You're
worried
either like
about
balls deep in it because you
instead of
realize
being-
the ramifications, or you don't care because you're like, what's on ASOS today?
Yes, and climate change could kill us all in 50 years, which is huge, and which is
I'm gonna have a
Which
climate
is-
change expert on.
which is terrible,
way.
and which is something that needs our dire attention. But a nuclear bomb could kill us all in 15 minutes.
So when you say kill us all, how far does a nuclear bomb spread? Like if someone came and dropped one in the middle of America, how long would it take for people on coastal cities to go?
So no.
Or would they
so it
drop
wouldn't. We
multiple?
wouldn't be affected if it was dropped in the middle of America. We wouldn't be.
But why would
the
they
air
just-
would not be affected.
So, but they wouldn't
We'd
just
be
bomb.
affected in a lot of ways.
They wouldn't just bomb the
obviously.
middle of America. They would bomb like multiple cities.
They'd probably bomb a city, and then if we
Who's they,
retaliated,
by the way?
they could be Iran, Iraq, Russia.
Who's
the
our
UK
biggest
has
fear?
them. Iran and Russia and the UK and
Not
sorry and
North
North
Korea?
Korea.
Okay.
Iran and North Korea. See, I don't have any excuse on this podcast for stumbling. It's not like I'm high.
Stop being nervous. Our listeners allow space for us to learn and grow. This
Cool.
is a very safe potty.
Well, I do want to spread this knowledge, but I also did record a show a month ago where I did get drunk and have these conversations. So I want to know all the facts I can, but I know that I don't.
it's not something you're thinking about on a day-to-day basis, because again, like I would fucking go have full-blown existential panic when I started to think about being here when the world ended. What are the chances it's going to happen soon?
So
Or how is everyone keeping their fucking dicks in their pants?
So every
What
year,
if Trump slapped the big red button with his little tiny cock?
You actually are weirdly bringing up really interesting subjects. The second episode of Getting Bombed is with this awesome feminist nuclear activist named Yasmin Silva, and she talks about how the nuclear priesthood, as they call it.
Ooh, hot.
And the time when a woman got into the nuclear priesthood, and how it's really a pissing contest. They refer to it as a pissing contest.
Yeah.
They refer to the nukes as, as orgasmic, and they refer to them like dicks.
Wow.
And so it's just interesting how much you're tapping on all the subjects that we.
So like when it is a dick measuring contest, like, will this happen soon? Should we be fucking worried?
Sorry. So there's a doomsday clock every year.
I just saw the one that just passed, right?
It just got reset on January 23rd, and it is only 5 minutes till midnight, I believe, which means that we're at a bigger threat of the world ending than ever before.
Wait, what do you mean it's 5 minutes to midnight? I thought doomsday clock was when like some dumbass
maybe it's
like
2 minutes to midnight. It was just released on
But I thought the doomsday
January
clock
23rd.
was like some dumbass religious organization that was like, we predict the world's gonna end here.
No,
What's the doomsday
it's an
clock?
organization of nuclear scientists.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up. That's the opposite of what I thought it was.
Yeah, of scientists. You look it up. Let's look it up.
But what does it represent?
It represents all of the threats to humanity. So primarily that's nuclear
100 seconds
and,
to midnight.
and climate change. Yeah, it's less than 2 minutes to midnight. I'm so sorry, I said 5 minutes.
But I'm confused what this does. What is this? It's a website that's thebulletin.org that lists nuclear risk, climate change, disruptive technologies. So are those the three biggest things we as a human race should be worried about?
Yes, about the end of the world in that way. Yes.
Oh, this site is terrifying because it also looks sort of propaganda-y. Like there's ads popping up.
It's looks like a news site, you know what I mean?
So it's 100 seconds to midnight to what? What does that mean, 100 seconds to midnight? What is 100 seconds to midnight?
Midnight, it would be the end of the world. And so, it might have, I believe last year it was like 2 minutes to midnight. Let's see. In 2018, it was 2 minutes to midnight. In 2017, it was 2.5 minutes.
But what do you mean 2.5 minutes to midnight?
It's because the
it
threats,
says right here.
yeah.
What is the doomsday clock? The doomsday clock is a design that warns the public about about how close we are to destroying our world with dangerous technology of our own making. It is a metaphor, a reminder of the perils we must address if we are to survive on the planet. That's hilarious that we run our scientific life by a metaphor. Because why don't we just change the clock? Why don't we go, let's make a digital one that has 75 hours in a day?
I mean, I think it's a, it's a pretty apt metaphor. It's just showing that like it's dire and we don't have really time to
God
figure
damn
this
it. So
out.
you're telling me I am probably statistically going to be on the earth when the world ends?
That's an interesting question.
Because that has been since the day I was born. That was my first thought.
I mean, unless we start doing something, yeah, that's what it looks like.
I get the activism will come in the end, but what the fuck, Chris?
No, I mean, I'm talking about climate change too. I'm afraid for my niece. I'm like, you're definitely gonna see the end of the world.
I guess I don't have anyone that's like younger than me that I care about.
Yeah, I'm like, you're gonna see the end of the world.
That's really scary.
Yeah, and you're not gonna be able to see so many beautiful things that we get to see because
life is precious.
Yeah, and you can see, I love how I'm like perfectly plugging all four of the episodes, but the fourth one, Getting Bombed. The fourth one is he kind of explains the history. It actually probably should be the first one. I don't know if we're gonna change the order, but he explained, this awesome MIT professor explains the history kind of in acts almost of like original sin all the way through what happened in the 70s and 80s is when we actually took charge and went, hey, this isn't cool. We need to start regulating this. And just seeing how much the people were able to change nuclear policy in this country and all around the world made me hopeful, especially because I haven't seen that conversation on social media happen yet. And it's like we have this awesome platform of think about the movement of something like Me Too and how it changed the world. And think about what we could do if
Well,
we were talking a
what's
little
the
more.
hashtag to even look up? Nuclear security? What's nuclear safety? Like, what do we even get involved in?
Maybe we call it hashtag getting bombed, you know,
What do you mean bombs away? Hashtag bombs away.
if you want to.
Okay, so
I
rapping.
like hashtag bombs away because it's like, put those bombs away,
Oh, that is cute. Okay.
you know?
You could pay me later for that.
Yeah.
You can take some of
I've
my
been
ad
thinking
money.
about that because obviously I'm releasing this in 2 weeks, and I've been trying to figure out, you know, maybe you have some ideas. I heard you were at a really successful internet site for a while.
Oh, yeah. I can't recall the name, but
yeah,
I did work there.
But I'm trying to think of ideas. Oh my god, I was trying to think of ideas of how to get this conversation started and trending, and
because it's
just
scary.
feels
It's
really
something.
important to me.
It feels overwhelming. Like I mention a lot on this podcast how
Yeah.
sometimes it's like there's too many fucking things happening that I'm supposed to care about that I kind of just want someone to look at me and go, here's the most important. Here's how you use your platform, and here's how you do it. But then it's like I won't have any fucking joy in my life. Also, it sounds like there's like a nuclear something happening outside right now with these
there's
helicopters.
happening.
Okay, so I want to wrap this up. We've been going for over an hour, which is awesome.
Oh, really?
I've been trying to make these longer because people have been asking for longer. Okay, first of all, after doing this series called Bombs Away, what have you learned that you will do if a nuclear bomb hits? And how can our listeners, oh my God, is something happening?
What if like right now, what if my series never got to drop because I don't
What
know,
is
can they hear
happening?
that? It's like a siren.
Something is happening, like,
directly outside
Outside of my building. And how can our confidants get involved in this conversation besides watching your show?
You can go to beyondthebomb.com, and they have a lot of ways to get involved. I also just think having this conversation and starting with one another and informing each other about what the risks of this are is really important. And if that can be subjects at presidential debates and things that we think of when we're electing officials, and if you can write your representatives, those are huge things.
What is this, a fucking the 50s
write your representatives,
pigeon
you
carrier?
can call your representatives, you can
Text
tweet
them.
your representatives.
Tweet them.
You can do all of that. That's actually probably the biggest thing you can possibly do.
That's really good.
Because
Make noise on social media.
Because if a bomb dropped in your city, there's not a lot you can do.
Okay, so let's start the hashtag here. You guys, I want to see you, all my confidants, get out your phones right now. Tweet hashtag bombs away at Chris REINACHER, at Kelsey Darragh, and let's start the conversation with your representatives.
Hell yeah. Yeah, tag your
Hashtag
representatives too.
Bombs away.
I like this. I'm gonna extrapolate on what we're thinking of right now.
okay.
This feels like a brainstorm to me now.
Oh boy,
Because I do want to get this conversation
we should.
started.
Well, I think,
and
again,
I'm trying
it's
to
like,
figure out what the best way to do it
I don't even
is.
know how to care and how to even get started because, again, like, I don't know that it's going to happen in my lifetime, so why should I care? But of course, it's like, hello, Mother Nature, the world, Earth, we are one, cuckoo, cuckoo. My final question, Chris REINACHER, at Chris REINACHER, that everyone can follow you at YouTube to watch your show that comes out the 8th.
Yep.
What would you do if right now a bomb dropped? Right now.
Call my mom.
Would you like run to the store and grab cake or like?
Okay, actually, I have a great question.
Oh,
Because
okay.
my question is, and don't be uncreative and say the song we've been talking about this whole time. What is your end of the world song?
Probably Imagine by.
That's the song you
I
play?
have it tattooed on me, and I just think it's so pretty, and every time I hear it, it puts me in a headspace of like worldliness. Like I feel very connected with the universe when I hear that song.
Let me know what your end of the world song would be.
Hashtag bombs away.
Hashtag bombs away. Hashtag getting bombed. I mean, I've been thinking about that. If you only had one song left to listen to before the whole world ended, what would it be?
It might be Blackbird by the Beatles, actually, now that I'm thinking about
That's
it.
a short song, though.
Is it?
You only get 2 minutes now. You only get 2 minutes, 12
Shit,
seconds.
I'd put it on repeat on Spotify.
It doesn't matter. You only get one song.
Fuck. All right, what's yours?
I think I would probably say something calming. I would either go The Trapeze Swinger by Iron and Wine. Do you know that song?
Yeah, Iron and Wine.
It's
Go
like-
with the hill.
No, that is not how Iron and Wine is. You're thinking a different
It's
band.
another Iron and Wine song.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like
It's on my
imitating
sex
Iron and
playlist.
Wine, going da da ba da. Like there is no Iron and Wine song that sounds like every
The
Iron and Wine
girl
song is
with
like
the pearl.
like if you imitate it like that, I would.
That's
get it.
a good flightless bird. This is what it is. I won't play it, but
Or Moonlight Sonata. I love
I
Moonlight Sonata.
I like that calmness because I would either, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I was trying to be too emotional with my Beatles song. I think I would put on like Lizzo Good as Hell and like
I
fucking
like that.
dance around.
That feels very you.
Yeah.
I realized that the weirdest song for you to choose would be Kanye West's I Am a God. You have to just listen to that song and imagine that like it's the end of the world and like that you're like naked on top of a hill. And it's like, I am a god.
I would
even
get
though
naked.
I'm a man of God.
I would get immediately
and you're like
naked.
dancing like tribally.
Yeah.
And then at the end it's like, oh!
That actually might.
And like, it's crazy.
Barry is freaking
It's the
out.
worst
He is like,
song.
what is happening?
I love the
confidants.
song, but it would be the worst end of the world song.
Tweet us at what your end of the world song would be. Also, hashtag bombs away. Tweet at your representatives. Watch Chris's show. Chris, thank you so much for coming on as a non-expert talking about something that you are confidently sure you're not sure about everything with.
I am very confidently sure that I'm not
Should I
sure
tell
about everything.
everyone to listen to Wine and Weed?
Yeah, go listen to Wine and Weed. We got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wine and Weed, or you can listen to us on Spotify, on iTunes, or wherever you get your premium podcast.
I also want to thank everyone again who donated Venmo that allowed these ads to be possible. You guys really do check out BetterHelp. I use it every week. And Glossier is like one of my favorite products. I can't believe I'm cool enough to have them sending me stuff. Also, we are going to be, and I'm so scared, and I feel like I'm safe to talk to you about this, is like there's going to be live shows happening soon in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Arizona, and Phoenix. I'm so scared, but I'm just putting those little bugs in your ears, confidant. So please come support.
And if you live in Chicago and you're like, I want a live show, well, I'm coming
You
to
are?
Chicago on February 14th,
Wait,
Valentine's
so
Day.
soon. I didn't know that.
We're going to Chicago for All-Star Weekend, and me and Stilo are doing a show with some celebrity guests.
Oh my God.
And the tickets should be on sale by the time this drops.
Guys, confidants, thank you so much. We will see you guys.